gonna do? I can't tell you, but I shock it too. Say it's your game. Do what you wanna do now. I can't tell you. I love that song. And guess what? It's mine, motherfuckers. You don't get it. So I had to pay for that. Damn copyright. Hello and welcome to the Rockstar Roadie podcast. I am your host, Daniel ONeil, or as everybody else on the road knows me as, Borga. I hate it, but I'll use it because I'll never escape it. And my guest today knows it firsthand because I did my first tour ever with him. Yeah, old. Anyway, so before we get started, let's do the fun part. The shit my lawyer tells me I have to say so I don't get in trouble. Here at the Rockstar Roadie podcast, myself and my guests, our thoughts, our solutions are all of our own. They are stemmed from things we've been through or we've helped friends go through. Therefore, we are not therapists, although we see therapists. So don't take what we say to heart as medical advice, but take it as someone who's been through some shit. Plain and simple. And then we get to the fun part. 2 rules of the podcast. Number 1, we do not talk religion. Shit, I got that backwards. All right, whatever. Number 1, we don't talk religion. Number 2, we don't talk politics. Plain and simple. All right, my first guest is a roadie who got out of the business at the right time. Good for him. Beyond proud. But I spent some of my formidable years, green as can be, with him. And it was, I mean, it might have scarred me. I'm not too sure. So please welcome my guest, Mr. Joel Lonky.
Howdy.
Yes. One half of the team, by the way, I have Brian, who is the other half of that team, who will be on later this week. So yeah.
That'll be a treat.
Oh, I'm putting you two back to back, man. And then there's one when I get home in January, when I start the whole new series, I'm getting you both on. Because that's just going to be nonstop fun. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Joel Lonky did my first tour with me, Modern English, and we won't say the year because it gives away my exact age, and I don't like that. But I was underage when I did the tour, and I'll leave it at that. But Joel had he's had a passion for being a pilot for as long as I can remember. Obviously not back then. We had passion for making noise and blowing up venues, which was fun. But basically, he's led a very storied career, which I'll show you some pictures through his travels. But he was able to, during the pandemic, get out. And now he is a pilot for?
Piedmont Airlines.
Nice.
I'm
so
a captain.
He's a commercial pilot, ladies and gentlemen. He is now in charge of the tour bus in the sky.
True. I am a flying bus driver.
Yes, you are. With a lot more knobs. At least you got autopilot up there. Down on, I don't trust autopilot for our bus drivers to save my life, especially some of our bus drivers. But anyway, so I got to show this picture. Unfortunately, on Modern English, Joel was the picture taker. So I don't have any pictures. Probably somewhere we'll find them, but of Joel and I. But this will tell you the tour. Shit, we drove a box truck, okay? End of discussion. And there's a story I just literally right now remembered about this box truck, which I'll share in a minute. But this picture, the gentleman with the baseball hat on is Steve Cohen, who is still a very dear friend. I got to get him on because the stories would be hysterical. And he might jar some more memories from back in the day. And then that is Greg, our drum tech. And that is back in the day when Ryder trucks had a door that would allow you to go in the back. So we actually had a bedroom set up back there. You remember that?
I do.
So we had a bedroom.
On top of some road cases.
On top of some road. No, it wasn't. We had the wall. We put the wall up and we had enough for a twin mattress in there.
That's right.
But the reason I remember this the most is because we were on tour in the dead of winter, driving this friggin' box truck. And I can't remember the club. It was almost like an old church.
and you had to load in up the stairs up the front. And I want to say it was Minneapolis, maybe Chicago, somewhere up there. It was freaking cold. I had the flu.
Wait, was it Detroit? Was it
Maybe.
St. Andrews?
Yes, St. Andrews Hall in Detroit.
That was Maggie's.
That was Maggie. Oh well, still, it's
Because if Steve's there, it's Maggie's. Same with Greg.
whatever. It's see, this is where I go. I don't remember. So, what did we have on Modern?
Everything was in the bay of the bus.
Oh, good God.
And there was that really crappy Eagle 01.
Well, you remember when we was okay. Now, again, here's where you're gonna have to correct me if I'm wrong, because Maggie's and Modern English kind of line up in my head. It might have been Maggie's. Where do we start Modern English? Was it Dallas?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I'd have to look at my itineraries.
Oh God, I actually still have mine. I found them in a box when we were in a bin when we were moving. But it might have been Maggie's with Steve and I, because the bus had we landed in Dallas, and you know that bridge in God, I got sweaty pits. These fucking studio lights are hot. ADHD conversations, my friend. So in Dallas, when you fly in, there's a bridge that you see all the cars coming in. We see our bus. It was a night train bus company bus, and it was it looked like a giant silver bullet. And we noticed it coming over the bridge. So this is Maggie's, because you weren't there.
No, that was, I think that was the Senator's bus driven by Buzz Plaxico.
No. I'm not done. Hang tight.
All right.
This bus was coming over the hill, because Scal Lorette was our tour manager. So it was Maggie's.
No, that's Modern English.
Okay, then it was Modern English. But it was on fire. You remember?
I don't remember that.
The bus was on fire. So Scal had to put us in cabs to go to the hotel and try and get another bus. But yes, that bus was a silver bullet from Night Train. And I think the man you just talked to said replaced that bus.
Oh, the old model 01 that nothing worked. Yes.
Yeah, nothing worked on that damn bus except for the stinking non-washing themselves musicians.
And yeah, it smelled like diesel and piss.
I remember it well. But anyway, so I really have no clue where to start with you, because I started with you. So I'm going to let you if you want to tell a story or two, go for it.
No.
Yeah, but so how green was I? Because I know I was freaking green.
You were pretty green. You were green. I remember all the trickster stories.
Oh God, yeah.
And
I remember our drummer was Brock Avery.
Yes.
Such a sweet man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then remember the guitar player, the rhythm guitar player, because he always just did this weird shit. Like he flailed his arms around. I called him Monkey Boy, was a dick to me. Do you remember the trick you taught me how to get back at somebody?
No, but you can remind me.
Okay, because you can't do it anymore because the chemical compound doesn't exist. They figured it out. You had me put in his beers.
Yes.
Drops of Visine.
I remember that. And he ran off the stage.
It was awesome. It was so great.
It was Visine.
Yes, it was Visine, but they don't have that chemical in there anymore.
Oh, yeah. It gave him shits.
Yes. Total shits. Like 20 minutes into the show, he's like, yes.
Yeah, it was that dude with the curly hair.
Dude, he was such a freaking dick to me. And me being green and like not knowing what I'm doing, just trying to provide for, my mom and my sister. I'm like, I'm going to bite the bullet here, but I got to do something. I came to you and asked you what I should do. And you're like, all right, here, listen, kid.
Well, but then again, that was a pretty passive aggressive way to do it. But,
And he never knew where it came from. It was the best.
Yeah. What show was that? That was in San Diego, I think.
San Diego, where the dressing room door was right behind the drums.
Yes.
Yep. See, folks, we remember shit when we get together. We can't remember shit when we're alone because we have to describe the situation.
Yeah, I remember mixing that show and seeing him run off and just started laughing, knowing what was going on.
Dude, Brock knew. Brock knew exactly what I did because Brock was like one of us. So, and he was just playing and laughing because I believe back then we had what you would consider one of the first ever playback rigs. It was like a hunk of shit, but it worked. And he taught me how to use it because I remember I was working at the studio in New Jersey and they came in and Scal asked me, or whoever the hell the tour manager was, asked
It
me
was
if I wanted to
Scal.
go. Okay, I don't remember.
It was
God
Scal
rest
the
his
whole
soul.
time.
God
Yeah.
rest his soul. And asked me if I wanted to go on tour, and I'm like, sure. I needed the money, and they paid me. They paid a kid really good, which I was surprised. I just had a room. I just had a room with Brian Taylor.
I had the room with Scal.
Yeah, well,
I shared a room with
at least you
Scal.
didn't get threatened every day.
That's true. My nose stayed intact.
I'm gonna punch you in the nose, kid. That's right, Brian. If you're watching this, I'm making fun of you. You can't get me.
Hey, Danny, I'm going to break your fucking nose.
I'm gonna break your fucking nose with that thick Long Island accent. I love it, dude.
Yeah.
And we're still great friends to this day. We talked the other day. I was supposed to do his podcast today, but as everybody knows, and you'll see, me and a couple kidney stones had a fight, and they won. So I was down a little bit. I'm feeling better. I'm sitting on a donut. Shut up. You can't make this shit up, folks. We're old. And what's funny is I tell people, you don't drink or do drugs anymore. No, but I got CBD cream. I got Mama Bear Oasis neuropathy cream. Ibuprofen. Yeah, that's how we live our lives now as old beat up roadies. So let me ask you this. So let's talk. So before that, that tour you and I did, you did my first tour ever, which is pretty cool. Technically first tour ever, but not tour together. Yeah, whatever.
Right.
But you did my first professional tour. I've done other tours with like bands in vans and shit across the United States. What was your starting tour?
My first tour was the Godfathers. Cohen brought me in on that to mix monitors.
Wow.
And I did like one leg and I sucked. And I remember the tour manager saying, all right, we're going to start this next leg, but I'm not going. And I go, oh, is it that bad? And he's like, well, it wasn't good.
At least he was honest.
Yeah. So, yeah. And, it was good experience. I enjoyed it. And it told me, yeah, I want more of this. And then the second tour I did was with EZO. Mike
I love EZO.
So I was doing a show with this unsigned band. I think it was it New York Fury?
Oh my
God.
God.
I think it was New York Fury. And it was with EZO. And the tour manager heard me mix. He goes, hey, you did pretty good. You want to come out and tour with us? I'm like, yes.
Yes.
And I think I left that day. It was one of
Nice.
those. And then I never looked back.
So I don't think any of us ever just look. I look back now and go, what the fuck was I thinking? I should have went to culinary school like I was supposed to. I'd be a chef now. And now I just cook in my own kitchen with steel pans. So EZO, then what did you go into?
What was after EZO? Shit. Was it Maggie's?
Now, did we do Maggie's before or after Modern?
Before. No, after.
After.
You came into Maggie's part of the way through the cycle because I was there a couple of years, and I think it was we lost somebody or we needed another crew member, and that's when it was me and Cohen. We brought you in.
Right, yeah, because we were rehearsing in New York City.
Right.
Yeah.
At SIR.
Yep.
On 53rd Street.
That was my favorite place to hang.
Yeah.
So many years of Cyndi Lauper there. We had a blast.
Yeah, and that's when we brought you in. I think that's what was that, and then you went through the rest of it with us because that was through the Fishbone tours and all that stuff.
That was fun. I actually had a memory of the Fishbone tour when we played the Boathouse in Virginia.
I have pictures.
That's my favorite place next to Toad's place to play.
The Boathouse.
The Boathouse was rocking, dude. I mean, it was a POS from hell, but it was awesome to play. Like Toad's Place is still up and running. I didn't know that. I did a little deep dive search on the web. They're
Oh
still
yeah,
running.
yeah. I did. The last time I did Toads was with Zombie. He decided he wanted to play there, and we packed the show into Toads.
Nice.
I guess
What's
that was
funny?
probably 2013 or 2010, something like that.
Oh my God. When we were making the move down here to Mississippi from Nashville, I found my old itineraries in a tote in the garage up in the top shelf somewhere. And I opened up the box, and in the bottom was Toad's Place sweatpants, just full of holes and shit. I'm like, oh man, I would love to keep these, but nah, I gotta stop being a hoarder and throw shit away.
You were a fanny pack guy. I remember that.
Thanks for bringing that up, pal.
Sweatpants and a fanny pack.
Sweatpants, fanny pack, high-tech boots.
That was a roadie uniform of the late 80s.
It really was. That, and then it moved over to those, not parachute pants, but those really comfortable baggy pants that all came in all different prints. Yeah, I went through all that shit. Flannels.
Yeah.
I was never a fashionista, man. I didn't give a shit. But so let me ask you a question. So if you look back, and obviously, this podcast revolves around tour stories and it revolves around mental health. Going back in the day here, I found a picture. Let's put this one up. Tell me this. I know who that man is.
Yes.
That's Mr. Billy Squire.
It is indeed.
I love Billy Squire.
We toured with him in 91. It was his She Goes Down tour, and Maggie's was the opening act.
Really?
Yeah.
I wasn't on that.
No, you had left by that point. I think you were there like 89 or 90. I think that was the summer of 91.
Do you remember, and I just remembered this, do you remember when we were at Maggie's was with the Black Crows and we got thrown off the tour?
Because we did a commercial.
A Miller Lite commercial. We did a Miller beer commercial.
And then they were out with ZZ Top, and then they got thrown off of ZZ Top's tour.
I didn't know that. Why?
Within a couple of weeks after that, because they were being themselves.
Oh, fair enough.
So it was kind of karma, right? Quick payback.
Hey.
Yeah, because Maggie's was
on that tour.
Maggie's was a starving band at that time, and they needed to make some money, so they were like, "Yeah, we'll do the Miller commercial," and they got a couple bucks for it. And then the Robinsons didn't like it that they did a commercial, and then they tossed us off, and we only did like 2 or 3 gigs with them.
Yep. By the way, if anybody doesn't know, I will tell you. And Joel and I were talking about this beforehand. He and I worked for this band, Maggie's Dream, and it was some of the most amazing musicians in my entire fucking career. And it was led by Robbie. What was his last name?
Rosa.
Robbie Rosa.
So Robbie was one of the singers of the original
Menudo.
But then he went on to produce a lot of Ricky Martin's music, and his producer name is Drago. So if you ever see like Ricky Martin music and it says produced by Drago, that's Robbie Rosa.
Oh, I follow him on Instagram. I've reached out a couple times. We've had some words, man. He was like the sweetest man. Everybody in this band was awesome. Tony James was the drummer. Danny
Palomo
was the rhythm guitar. Raph Hernandez was lead guitar. Lonnie Hillier was bass player and my roommate, and probably to this day, in my opinion, one of the most badass bass players on the freaking planet.
I agree.
And then if you get a chance, go to Spotify, look up Maggie's Dream and listen to him. You will be hooked. I mean, I listen to him literally all the time. If I'm in the garage working in my work boxes, Maggie's is going.
It was like a total funk rock band.
Funk rock that made you want to destroy shit.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. But there's a song that they have that I absolutely love called Mother Father. Damn. Anyway, woo, look at that. I got the goosies. But it's just when, and that's another thing we could talk about. We work for a lot of people. Has there been, and I know for me, their music like Maggie's would be one of them. And believe it or not, there's some other artists that would make you go, what the fuck is wrong with Danny? That invoke emotion.
Yeah.
And I believe music that invokes emotion is real music to me. Now, I'm not saying that, Nickelback isn't, because I like Nickelback, but there are some songs out there that you can hear the first 4 bars like My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion. And I'm just like, and again, here's the Goosies. You know, that's invoking emotion. And a lot of bands I get to work for, I've had that pleasure, you know, and it's when you work for a good band, like, and I'm going to put this up here because I know for a fact this man is like deserves a Nobel Peace Prize. dude, sorry, I had to do it. Billy, from what I've heard and you confirmed, is literally the best boss ever.
Yeah, he is the best. I spent shit, 15, almost 14 years with him,
Wow.
13 years working just Billy as my primary client.
That's great.
He's amazing.
That
Just
is great.
the nicest guy, so loyal to his crew. You know, he's one of those guys that once you're in, you're in.
Right. And I feel, you know, there's bands like that. And that's kind of like me with Jovi. They treat us so well, so respectful, so nice that you will do anything for them, you know?
Yeah.
So let's go back to the other part.
Loyalty breeds loyalty.
Exactly. And respect breeds loyalty.
Yes.
I have been, and God, we're going to just keep doing this. It's going to go fucking on and on. But I am so over being treated like shit from management and band members. And when I say band members, I'm not talking about hired guns, because hired guns are some of the nicest guys I've ever worked with. But I'm talking about band members. Now, if I hear even a story that you're a dick, I won't work for you. I don't care how much money you pay me. I have hit that point in my career after 40 years to go, no, I don't need that in my life. I've worked way too hard to bring myself back from a very dismal place in my head. And I don't need you to try and put me back in that place. You know, there's go ahead.
God, sorry.
No, okay.
I started my rebellious side of that with not being treated like shit in the 80s before I was even touring. When I was working for a regional sound company, there was a band that played in Jersey it was national band, and they set up for a show, and Steve Cohen can vouch for this because he was here for this. I was mixing monitors, and the band was Kicks. Red light, green light, TNT, light my fuse.
I love Kicks.
So the bass player was a dick.
Total freaking dick, dude. I know him personally. He's an ass.
And I'm not talking about Divins. This is after Brad Divins, because Brad's
really
great.
No,
yes.
Brad's awesome.
This was after
it was
that.
The freaky haired guy,
Donnie.
Thank you.
So we do sound check. Everything's great. So Kicks brings in their own augmented PA system, and they aim it like side fills, but in front of the stage, so it shoots across the downstage edge of the stage. So it's like side fills, but all the way at the downstage edge on the floor. So the people in the front row of the pit, instead of front fills, they were their version of front fills. We're talking about the early 80s here.
Oy vey.
And separates, not like one box with a tweeter and a woof. It was all separates, like a little a bass box and then a horn. And so we did sound check. Everything was groovy. Come to the show, first song, the singer Steve is on singing, and he sticks his mic out to the audience, and of course the thing feeds back. So Donnie shoots this glare at me. Now I had no control over this part. This was the front of house guy. So he shoots this death stare at me, and I just give him a shrug, like, dude, it isn't me. And back to playing. Steve goes back out there, sticks his mic out again. It rings. Donnie turns around, gives me this death glare again, and I shrug my shoulders. Nothing I can do about it. Third time, same thing again. Speeds back. This time he throws a full water bottle at me full of Coke and water, hits me in the chest, gets on the console, and I didn't even think. I just said, you can't do that to me. I picked it up and I threw it back at him. Nice. Oh, well, that just infuriated him. He takes his bass off, storms over to the monitor console, and I'm kind of like, he comes to the back of the doghouse and he takes a swing at me over the desk. And I just reacted, and I just wound up and jabbed him and just popped him right in the nose. And I shattered his nose. Yes. And he runs backstage, and now it's end of show, third song. So then the crew the ambulance comes, they take him away. His girlfriend runs out. What did you do to my Donnie? His nose is on the side of his face. And I'm just like, wow, bummer. And I'm just starting to figure out, pack up or whatever. Then the whole crew comes around and surrounds me, and I'm thinking, oh man, I'm gonna have to fight my way out of this. And they all hoist a beer and toast me. This needed to
Nice.
be done a long time ago. I was like, great. So that ends up going down. They leave. End of show. The owner of the venue says, "I'm sorry, but you can't ever work here again." It was Club Benet, so
Oh,
you can't work
I know
here
it well.
again. This was late. I was already. I think no. You know what? I was touring. I was on a break, and I filled in for a guy on the regional company. It was Christmas, like Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. It was one of those, and I was home, and he said, "Hey, can you fill in?" And I was yes. That's what it was. The owner
Okay.
of the sound company. So I was like, well, whatever, no big deal. So about a month later, I get a phone call going, "Oh, you're being sued for $40,000 for loss of wages for the show, pain and suffering, medical expenses." I'm like, 20 something years old, just starting a business. I don't have any money. So I'm like nervous. I never hear anything from it. It just kind of went away. I was like, I wonder what happened. So I reached out to a couple people. Well, I come to find out that sitting, how Bidet had those long tables?
Mm-hmm.
Sitting at the front table right near Monitor World were four off-duty New Jersey state troopers that saw the entire thing.
Awesome.
And they went to court and testified that Mr. Parnell assaulted me first and I defended myself. And the judge dismissed everything and they got nothing.
That's awesome.
So that's how that ended. So then every time I went to Hammerjacks, because they were from Baltimore, the Hammerjacks guys all knew about it. And they're like, you drink for free forever for doing that.
I love it.
That's-
And that's just it. I listen, thank God. I mean, listen, I've been lucky because if a band member came to me to go to blows, they're not walking away unscathed. I'll go down like a cat. I don't care.
Yeah.
But it's never come to that. But I've been spit on. I've had shit thrown at me, and I've gone right back at them. Hell,
You gotta.
I've gone right back at them. I've had, and I don't mention names on here, but I had a very popular rock star who breathed fire decided that he wanted to berate me and then attempt to spit on me, to where I got up in his face, but like this, and said, "Listen, you do that again, you're never going to have another child ever." And sure enough, everyone was like, "Oh, you don't do that to him." I'm like, "Listen, man, I don't care. I'm a human being. You don't treat human beings like that, And then after the
We're
show,
here
I
for
actually,
you, trying to make you look good.
right. You screw up or somebody else screws up, but you take it out on me, because that's what happened. And I've had that happen more times than I can shake a stick at. I could tell you a couple stories about another guitar player from a band with the Mr. Scary guitar. But after the show, he apologized. And I'm like, we're cool. But don't take out your frustration on somebody else on me. I'm not your whipping boy. So anyway, let's go back to the question I was going to ask you 7 minutes ago. So touring as early as you did, and in getting out when you did at the pandemic, which I'm really happy you did, is what have you seen mental health wise from then until the later parts of your career before your retirement?
Well, starting out young, you don't really think about it. You're just driven to do the gigs and do more gigs, and you're just in the whole world. And it's like, wow, this is great. Then it starts to settle in as the years go by. You start to understand the tour loneliness. You're surrounded by people, but you're lonely.
You're lonely.
You have a lot of downtime, and you're just spinning your wheels. You're treadmilling time. I mean, you're sitting in that hotel room. I used to have this mental image that I'd look out at other hotel rooms and see the cubes, and I'm like, wow, it's kind of just like little jail cells,
Hmm.
But I'm not locked in, but you are locked in. It's kind of
Right.
this weird dichotomy of you thinking, I've just got to go out and do something just to do something. You can't just sit still and be like, oh, I'm good with everything. That's I used to always, get you had FOMO before you knew what FOMO was. If the guys would go out and you didn't go with them, oh my God, what did I miss? You know, you couldn't just take your own road, so to speak. And then later
Yeah.
in my career, I figured all that out, and I was just like, I'm going to make use of this time. And that's when I would sit in hotel rooms and I would study and work on this plan of mine to become an airline pilot. And I've been flying for, it'll be 30 years this coming year. When I first got my private pilot's license in 96 and just started, I got my commercial, my instrument, and all my instructor ratings. And I had them for a long time. But then every time I'd see airline pilots, I'm like, I know I could do that job. It's the same as what I do now. It's complex systems management driven by a schedule.
Right.
That's if you boil it down, that's what it is. It's
Mhm.
funny because there's a lot of similarities. We carry a lanyard. We have a laminate. We have lobby calls. We travel with the same crew for each trip, which would be a tour.
Right.
There's it's schedule. It's highly schedule driven. The show starts at X. Well, the flight has to leave it. So it was very similar to me living in hotels for the whole time. I still live in hotels 4 days a week or
Right.
3 nights a week. So that hasn't changed. So it was a real easy transition for me. Um, I have to say, since I've stopped touring and having toured for 37 years, yeah, I love the show, but the rest of it got really mundane and just drudgery, so to
Right.
speak. And I was starting to get burnt, and I knew I
Yeah.
was getting burnt, and I just didn't want to keep doing it till I was 70. I just didn't
Right.
see it. And I've always wanted to do what I'm doing now is another goal. I mean, I've been lucky. I've had 3 careers in my life and I've loved them all. Some people
Good.
don't get one.
No.
So I'm blessed that way. And I worked for it, but still the way the cards fell, I was able to do all this and accomplish what I wanted in my dreams.
Now,
Um,
how did you see people? So obviously, you and I listen. Let's just be real. And I hate ever having to bring this up, but we both lost friends. I
oh yeah,
mean,
lots.
it, we've lost lots of friends. I mean, I keep a list, and that's sad.
I do that
Um,
too.
yeah, I have a list on my computer that it's in my notes, and I'll go back and look at it, and I have not deleted one of those people's numbers out of my phone. I can't, and but we've lost friends to their own hand. We've lost friends to drugs and alcohol. We've lost friends due to natural causes. The ones that really get me are, and I'll use a dear, sweet man to me and an old friend, Jimmy Johnson. He was Tommy Shaw's tech for Styx, and he missed lobby call. And well, that's where they found him, in his hotel room. That is my ultimate fear for my family, is to get that call. As I'm getting older and been dealing with back and forth health issues, I fear that. The good thing about the tours that I do, there's a great support system, so we know to check on each other.
Yes.
But how did you see guys deal, and depression in our industry is rampant. And it's what you said is a good part of it. It's the loneliness. You're surrounded by people, but you're alone. And
Right.
that breeds depression, in my opinion, because it did it to me, and it's done to some of my guests. It's done it to friends I'm on the road with, and now it's being more talked about. But how did you see people dealing with their depression?
Substance abuse. They try to fill the void, try to numb
Yeah.
it. Um,
Yep.
dangerous behaviors of multiple types. You know, we've known plenty of people on tours. Some are drug addicts, some are drunks, some are sex addicts. There's always something trying to fill a
Hey,
void.
I resemble that sex addict
Yeah,
remark.
well, not saying it's bad or good, but you know what I mean. Um,
Sure. It won't
gambling. I
kill you.
mean, like you, I had the same thoughts. I didn't want to die and be found in my bunk in the bus. That
No.
was the worst fear.
Yeah.
You
Yeah. I
know,
forget I
and
forget the band member's name. Shannon.
Shannon, and
Blind Blind
he
Melon,
did
right?
it. It was in Dallas,
Yep.
and I think it was. I forget the venue. We were there the next day doing a show at the same venue, and their bus was still there because of the investigation.
Right. Shannon Hoon, right? Was his name?
Shannon Hoon. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I had friends on the Blind Melon crew who were just besides themselves. And again, it's just like we both just said, we don't want to be found that way because
No,
who's going to get our body home? Let's just be real. And then to put our families through that, you know,
exactly.
and it's just like, I mean, I dealt
Especially
with,
for people with children.
yeah,
If you passed away on the road, talk about no closure for them. Like,
100%.
okay, so you get a terminal illness, you're in a hospital, and everybody can say goodbye. There's some closure there,
Right.
but there would be no closure. And that's scarring in itself.
Well, the one thing I've done since my children have been born and they were capable of understanding, and I have highly intelligent children, but they're stupid. But every parent says that. So, but I have prepped them, and I have prepped them, and it's like even when we text, I love you, and I let them know how I feel, and I let them know that I want them to celebrate life after I'm gone because the reality, and I'm going to spoil it for everybody. So get ready, people, because here comes the spoiler. We're all going to die. We just don't know when.
Just don't know when.
And my favorite quote, and I probably said this at a bunch of podcasts. I don't remember it, my ass or my elbow, but I have a favorite quote. And it's one my therapist brought up to me when I first started seeing my therapist right in the middle of the pandemic. And it's by Ralph Waldo Emerson. And I keep it right up here on the side of my screen. And it says, it's not the destination, it's the journey. I've always led my life as it was the destination. You know what I'm saying? I never
Yeah.
thought about the journey in between. Once I started thinking about the journey in between, I started enjoying my life. I started to come out of those depressions. Now I'm a functioning depressionist, I guess you might say. I don't know, but I've said this before, and people get used to it because I'm going to talk about it because it's fucking real, and I'm tired of sugarcoating shit with people. I deal with depression. I deal with it. I can bring myself out of it. I have been given the coping mechanisms to bring myself out of depression. I will deal with it for sometimes a few hours, maybe a day, but then I can bring myself out of it. But it is dark. I feel horrible for people who suffer from depression. And I had a guest on. His podcast isn't being released yet for another couple of weeks, but he's a former roadie who is now a PRN, and he deals with people who have depression and all that stuff like that. And he taught me something that I didn't know, that there's two forms of being bipolar. One form of bipolar is basically being a functionable person who deals with depression. The other, bipolar 2, is you're always depressed. You can't break out of it, which requires medication. Since I've been clean and sober now for 30 years, 94, I stopped doing pills and drinking. I will not take anything that is a narcotic base that will allow me to become addicted to it because I am an addictive person. I hone in on something like I'm addicted to drones. I have mini drones that I fly around my garage and I try to learn how to be a drone pilot, but I'll go hardcore into it. So same with, alcohol and stuff like that. I just stay away from bars. I stay away from clubs. I can go to them, but it's a minor struggle, and back in the day I could, if you had a pill, I didn't care what it was. Give it to me.
Yeah.
I didn't care.
I stayed away from bars. It was easy for me because after working so many years in regional sound companies, I just hated going to them because it reminded me of work.
Well, you brought up a good thing earlier, and I forget what you said because that's just my brain. But it's like if you don't go out with the boys, you feel like you're going to miss something. What did you call that?
FOMO,
FOMO.
fear of missing out.
Right. Fear of missing out. I had that fear, so I would always go to the bar with the guys. What do you do at the bar? You drink.
Yeah,
Because you
drink.
don't want to be that young guy with the older guys and not feel like you have to be one of them.
Yeah. And like Bobby said, and when you did your interview with Bobby, because Bobby and I have toured a lot together, and
I
you
love
know,
Bobby.
it was a lot more rough and tumble back then. It was way more wild, wild west.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot calmer now. And I've been out for 4 years now, and you know, it was already getting a lot more docile than it used to be.
Yeah.
Plus, we were hard people, man. You had to have like leather thick skin, or you would just get torn up. People
Well,
were
we're
just
East Coast
brutal to
boys
each
too.
other.
We're East Coast boys. We have zero fucks to
Yeah.
give.
And people were just brutal to each other.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we still are now, that's, I'm about to leave and start TSO here soon. And I'm looking forward to it because we just have fun. It's just a bunch of old school guys and we just crack jokes and break each other's balls all day long. And we do some good shows and put on, and watch some people have a great time. Hang on.
What do you mean funny? Funny how? How am I funny?
Anyway, so
Do I amuse you? Am I a
funny
fucking
like
clown?
a clown? But so brings me to the point. You live in Jersey.
I lived in Jersey.
Lived. Where do you live now?
I'm in Florida. And
Oh,
I
I'm
lived
sorry.
so I left Jersey in 93 and I moved to Dallas. After Lollapalooza 93, I got hired by a sound company down in Dallas, pretty big one. And I moved to Dallas. I was there for almost 10 years. And then I got divorced and I figured, 1,500 miles is good enough to get away from my ex-wife. Ended up meeting somebody on tour and she lived in Florida. So I moved to Florida and I've been in Florida ever since. So I've been in
Right.
Florida since 99.
Yeah, mine's in Kentucky, and I'm in Mississippi, so this is as far as I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm not moving to another state. I'm too old. I'm gonna die down here. I told my wife, just throw me in the marsh and throw me in the bayou and let an alligator have me when I'm done. At least I could feed somebody. But so this picture I love.
That's 2006, I think. Yeah, because that's Tommy Clufettis playing drums. So that's 2006. That was my first zombie tour. And I got that through ML Procise gave me that tour.
God
And then
rest
I
his
ended up
soul.
working then I ended up working for Zombie for the next 10 years.
No shit.
Yeah, I did 10 years with Rob.
Now who is this?
Weird Al.
That's Weird Al. I can see it better now. I couldn't see it.
Yeah,
When
I
was
did
small.
I did some fill-in dates with Weird Al a bunch of years ago. There I did like a tour and then I did a couple of one-offs. Yeah, it was great. He's a great guy. He's
Yeah,
just
everyone I talk to says he's funny as hell.
super cool.
And this one I love too. The Anthrax boys.
2006. So Anthrax was opening for Zombie and it was their reunion tour. And then after the tour, they hired me and I went out and finished the reunion stuff as the front of house engineer for them.
Oh, nice. I think so you said that was 2006. I think they opened up I was with Slayer. I want to say 97 down in South America. They opened up for us. And then, they opened and then it was Megadeth and then it was us. So, because that's where me and Al Petrelli remember each other from. But what is this picture? Oh, is this? Oh, it's Billy Idol.
That's Billy Idol. That's probably, so that's a pronoun. So that's probably 2012, 2013.
And let me guess, BFI stands for Billy fucking Idol.
That's what he calls himself.
Nice. I love it. That's the best. I love when artists just fucking run with shit like that. So in your span of your touring career, how have you dealt? Now you've told stories, but how have you dealt with mental health issues?
I really didn't.
And if you don't want to talk about it,
No,
I'm
I'll talk
totally fine
about
with
it. I really didn't. I just took it as part of the game. I would come home and I'd be angry and kind of a little depressed after every tour. And it's funny because my wife and I were talking about it the other night. She's like, you know what I noticed since you've been out of the touring world and doing this job? We don't argue anymore. You're always happy. You don't come home miserable. And I'm like, wow, I didn't think of it that way. But yeah, I'm so much more even keeled now. And it's just like, I don't feel any depression whatsoever. I'm always generally was always a happy guy. At least I think I was. I'm obviously in the early in my career, I probably went through that big asshole phase like a lot of people do, but it is what it is.
Right.
But I felt, I guess those were those signs that I wasn't really reading right. The tour ended.
Mhm.
Was I angry that the tour is ending, or was I angry that I was just angry from being on tour?
You didn't know where the two, like where it was blinded. They were just like melding together.
Yeah, that was just part of the deal. I and other times I wouldn't feel that. It's just maybe it was how much work the tour was, you
Yeah.
know, and how appreciated I felt on the tour, or was, it could have been a lot of these things, you know, being more enlightened as you get older. You kind of can
Mhm.
self-realize a lot better than when you're
No,
younger.
100%. I mean,
And
that's kind of how I feel too. It's like on a tour, it's like how people like, well, you're on a tour, you're all working, you know, how do you kind of just take care of yourself? Well, it's hard. And I'll use TSO as a prime example. We do 2 shows a day, 5 days a week. Sometimes my backline guys and I'll load in at 6 a.m., and then you're going all day.
yeah,
And then you have that hour between, matinee and then the next show. So it's like, we have catering on tour, which is, my buddy Chef Mark Grattan. He's amazing with Most Excellent Catering. And he looks out as much as he can for us. Like we have a bus stock list, and that's something we'll get into in a minute because I have some shit with these self-entitled new fucking road crew kids. I'm gonna smack around. Um, but Mark knows like I'm a diabetic. So there are certain foods that I can and can't eat and should and shouldn't eat. That's why I carry my own air fryer on tour. Thank you very much. I have my own.
greatest invention ever.
Ever on a bus, man. Air fryer on a bus is the shit because microwave was all we ever had.
All we
And
ever had.
some microwave food was just like, ugh. But it's like after show food. Yeah, we shouldn't eat after show because we're not done till friggin' midnight some nights.
But we do.
But we have to. You have to fuel your body even with something. So it's like getting taken care of on tour or getting, how you're treated on tour. It does matter for your mental health because like on TSO, our production coordinator, Kevin, is just an amazing, awesome individual. He knows I can't eat certain foods, after show foods. Normally after show foods is like pizza or chicken. And if I ever see another
It's
pizza
always the
after a
worst
show,
shit too.
it is. But
So
he'll get me a salad.
Towards the end, I started doing protein shakes. I would have my own stuff, and I would just, as soon as I got in the bus, I'd slam it so I wasn't hungry anymore, so I wouldn't be tempted to eat the crap.
Right. And
And
I am tempted to eat the crap, but Kevin gets me good salads. And they got protein in them there. So they got a chicken or a steak or something in them. And I'll eat those. And that just tells me, hey man, they don't have to do that. They don't, but he does it, which is to me,
right.
A, respect, and B, he gives a shit about his people.
Yep.
But whenever I'm on a tour and I've grown a little since we toured, I've production managed a few big ones. We'll do the same for for my crew as well. As if there's dietary restrictions, they let me know, and then my production assistant will do his best to get them something for after show food. But it's going that extra mile that we don't have to do, but we do.
Right.
Because that is the respect you show the crew. Now, back to what I said a minute ago about these bus stock and these self-entitled little shitbags that are coming out now, that are out of the woods trying to undercut us, which, by the way, it all fails because I get called to fix your shit.
It's just fucking dandy.
And they don't understand, like when you and I grew up in this industry, you got maybe $25 a day per diem, if that. And what that had to do was
I think it was 20.
20. Dude, there were some tours and when I was like green as can be, I got $15. And that $15 had to get me into a truck stop, get me whatever I can for $15, put my name on it, and put it in the fridge, hoping no one was too drunk or stoned or whatever to eat my shit.
Or didn't care.
But bus stock and after show food didn't come till much later in my career. And I ran into a kid right out of the pandemic. I won't say his name, but he knows better now. He got a schooling real quick. He's like, well, that's not part of my deal. I get bus stock and I get after show food. Motherfucker, no, you don't. It ain't part of your deal. I don't know what friggin' school you came out of, Junior, but it ain't part of your deal. If it ain't part of mine,
Part of my deal.
if it ain't part of mine, it sure as hell ain't part of yours. That is the artist saying, here, take some more money from us and make sure the crew is fed. Because here's the deal. Bus stock and after show food comes out of the artist money, float,
Sure does.
settlement.
Or the
Yeah.
production budget.
Right. It goes in the production budget and it comes off of their gross.
Yeah, I love when they think it's free food.
And then I see people putting ungodly amounts of shit on the bus stock list. And it's like, who do you think you are? You ain't even going to eat half of this and it will spoil before you get to it. Knock it off.
Yeah.
But it's this self-entitlement of these new kids nowadays who think they're untouchable because they went to a school.
Well,
Bitch, I went to a school. It's called life.
Yeah, it's called touring. I mean, yeah, we just sound like old curmudgeon-y X's and boomers, but you know what? We worked our asses off to get to those levels. And
Dude,
these
we're
guys
the
are
goat for a reason.
rolling right into it.
Yeah, we're the GOAT for a reason. We're the guys who fought for you to have the shit you have now.
Yep.
We're those
Absolutely.
guys. So knock it off. So anyway, pilot, Mr. Commercial Pilot. Are you a capitan?
I am.
You're
I am a captain. Been a captain about a year and a half now.
Hell yeah.
So I'm just finishing my 4th year at the airline, starting my 5th. I've got 2 years and 11 months till I retire.
No shit.
Yes, it's mandatory retirement for scheduled airlines. You can't be over 65.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yes. So I'll be retiring from the airline on November 30th of 2028,
Wow. Congratulations, bro.
day before my birthday.
See, you'll get a pension and all that stuff. Being a roadie, you wouldn't have got anything.
Right. Well, and that's, I love that fact that I'm working in this very corporate world now, but I've got health insurance. I've got retirement with company matching funds. I've got paid vacations. I've got paid holidays. I'm like, wow, I missed out on this my whole life.
Well, let me ask you this, though. And I think you can bring a unique perspective to this question. And as much as you could talk about, I'm okay with. How is this shutdown really affecting you?
It has not. At this point, at
Really?
day 20, what are we, day 24? Something
Yeah.
like that? It has not. I'm based in Charlotte, which is the 5th busiest airport in the world. I've had no delays. All the places I've flown to, I've experienced no delays. Every time I go through from the hotel into the airport, I thank TSA for coming to work. The air traffic controllers have all been there. No, I haven't heard one peep out of them. So I have not experienced any of these delays or problems that the media is reporting about. I don't know if they're sensationalizing 1 or 2 events,
Wow, come on now.
but
We know what the
I
media does.
average on a 4-day trip, I can average up to 16 flights in 4 days. And again, I've had no issues.
Huh. That's good to know. I got a flight coming up, so thank you.
I go back to work tomorrow morning. I'll fly from Orlando to Charlotte and start my workday in Charlotte. And I
Okay.
commute. Now I'm a commuter. I commute from Orlando to Charlotte, Charlotte to Orlando after my 4 days.
Okay. Now, so what airline do you fly for?
It's Piedmont, but we're wholly owned by American. So we're American.
Okay,
We're paid
cool.
by American.
That's my airline.
Yeah, so it's American.
I got my status. It ain't going nowhere for another 10, 15 years. I'll keep American. I'm good with it. So,
Yeah, I ended up there just because I wanted the shortest commute. That's why I ended up there. I picked the airline. Every airline that I applied to, I got a conditional job offer. So it was up to me to pick.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was.
See,
it was
that
quite
tells you something too, right there. That tells you everything you worked for was worth it.
and I know how to interview.
Now, you don't want to.
That's a whole nother thing. Airline interviews are crazy. It's a whole multi-step process. And,
Oh, I'm sure.
um,
Well, it comes down to, listen, it comes down to you're in charge of a whole crap load of lives, man.
but really what they look for is, do we want this person in our family, kind of, so to speak? And I hate using that word. Like anytime a tour would say you're part of the family, I'd want to run the other way. Because
Yeah.
usually that's a warning sign when they start saying that stuff.
It's a warning sign unless they show it.
Right.
There's one thing saying you're part of the family, then there's another thing when you say it, but you show it.
It's like in the corporate world. You guys did tremendous on that project. Amazing work. Here's a pizza.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Gee, thanks. I appreciate that in the Timex.
Yeah, not even.
I
Just a
know.
pizza. Well, we did put pepperoni on it.
Yeah. Oh, they splurged.
So yeah, it's great. I wouldn't trade it for the world what I did. Would I would go back? Probably not now that I've done this now and
right.
I'm very happy in it. Believe it or not, so being an airline pilot, it's a very stressful job, but I'm less stressed than I was on the road. Go figure.
Well,
I feel less
yeah, because
stress. I'm just like, this is great. Whatever, everything's cool.
I think on the road, I guess I've been doing it for so long and I've had the ability to pick what job I wanted on the tour. And what I mean by that is, I had some great teachers, Mark Hogue, Chris Adamson, a whole bunch of people to teach me how to be a production manager. And I was able, Omar Abdurrahman, who I love dearly, great teachers. And there's others, unfortunately, I don't mention some names because they've passed and it hurts. So,
Yeah.
I've had the ability to go back and forth and pick and choose. And I pick and choose based on how much stress do I want to deal with?
Exactly.
Because here's the thing. When I do production manager, I'm also the tour accountant. On Janet, I was TM, PM, and tour accountant, which I got paid for. I'm fine with that. But it was a great camp, great people, but it was a lot of stress.
Yeah.
Then I go back to doing guitars and I don't have management asking me for budgets. I don't have, entourage asking me for stupid stuff in the middle of friggin', New Mexico. So I choose my piece, and I think I've been good. And the other good thing is I've been PM mainly in my career for female artists it's a much different organization. Cyndi Lauper, I was there for years.
I remember that.
She to this day is still my friend. We'll text twice a year. Out of the blue, there'll be a text just saying, hey, like when she ended her tour in Australia, I texted her and said, hey, I'm proud of you. I wish you well in your retirement, which didn't last long. She's like, nope, I got roped into something else. I'm like, okay, but she's a wonderful woman. And that's hard to find, in a male dominated camp. And I'm not saying a male dominated camp is bad, but being able to, I think like you, if you were to pick, you could pick a tour based on front of house. You could pick a tour based on monitors. You have that technical know-how and knowledgeability to do that. A lot of these guys, they lock themselves in to one thing.
Yeah.
And what I'm seeing a lot of lately, and I see it on social media, and I try to fathom it, the mentality is I see guys who I know have been out on a tour for the last 4 months, right? Oh, my tour's coming to an end. I'm looking to fill. Why are you panicking? What are you spending your money on that you can't take a break?
Well, I was guilty of that.
No, I was
definitely-
too. And then I got smart.
You start working for artists that are wealthy and you start thinking, oh, that's me too. And you start spending like that. And
True.
the tour, you're like, shit, I only got a couple weeks. I got to find something.
Right.
And
But I'm
it's a
seeing
whole
guys
other stress
panic.
level.
I'm seeing guys panic. I got smart pre-pandemic. It didn't save me through the pandemic, but it helped where I built up, with the wife and, having the kids at home, I built up a kitty for 6 months going, oh, just like everybody else. Oh, this isn't going to last that long. 2 years later. But having that kitty saved up to at least have the bills paid and to put food on the table matters. And I did that from literally no joke of just within the span of 3 years of touring. I was able to build up a 6-month kitty. And then I'm watching these guys panicking towards the end of their tour. Hey, if you hear anything, or if I get texts about it, I'm like, man, listen, I get calls at least twice a week still to this day. And I say no on purpose because The money might not be there. The tour doesn't feel right. The tour is just really crappy venues or, whatever. Or the one thing I've learned at my age now is I don't work for bands that are under 25 years old
Good point.
because that brings an entire class of drama of like me raising my kids. And my kids are grown and moved out, all 5 of them. And they don't have this kind of drama in their lives. I'm not dealing with it on fucking tour, But that, and again, people watching the podcast, especially with my friends, let's be clear, it's ADHD all over the board. We will go in and out and in and out, and I don't give a shit if you could follow along because it's real.
Yeah.
But what did you notice towards the end of your tenure in our industry? What did you notice more so? Two parts to this question. One, as a change to our industry as a whole, and then how people were dealing with the stresses of touring as a whole.
The evolution, I definitely noticed as these new gens came in, it changed. It also, I watched it from the Wild West and watched it turn into big business, bigger than it ever was prior to that.
It's full blown corporate. Let's be clear.
It became like doing corporate shows. Like as a sound guy, you tour or you do corporate shows. It became corporate shows all the time. It was all the more they realized, it's more money,
Mhm.
that dictated everything.
Yep.
And then the new generation doesn't have to pay the dues that we did. They get to go to a school and then, get hired by a Claire Brothers and go right out on an arena tour. Man, we scrapped in clubs and van tours, and maybe you got an RV tour, then maybe you got to a bus. It was a multi-year process to get to that level. Now they just start there.
Yeah.
Because the
100%.
clubs aren't there anymore. That whole music scene has changed. There aren't the bands like there were bands everywhere. Music was such a part of everything, and it's not there anymore. That's why I think these legacy artists are still out there working and doing so well. It's because there's nothing to replace them with. Everything, I don't want to say it's all crap because that just sounds like a grumpy old man, but a lot of it is just mass produced, shelf life of 5 minutes, on to the next thing. There's none of that longevity in an artist's career. Even the labels don't really exist like they used to. The labels were there to nurture an artist from that first record all the way through their career, and it's just not there anymore like that.
So and to kind of throw in on that, I apologize for interrupting you, but firsthand knowledge, I did management for a while, plain and simple, and I had some success. The problem is now labels to this day, the whole new format of how the labels do things. They want the album brought to them ready to go to press.
Right.
They won't even invest anymore unless you're a YouTuber, a TikToker, an Instagrammer, a MyFace, or whatever.
They don't even have the infrastructure anymore like they used to have with promotions and all of that. That's gone.
The budgets and all that shit's gone.
They've slashed all the fat on their side too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, it's kind of sad because we grew up in a glorious time of club music.
Yes.
Amazing. The late 70s and the early 80s, the late 80s. Amazing. Some of the best shows I had were those early raid shows in 91, 92. They were electric. I can't even describe how amazing that to be part of that.
No, 100%.
Back then.
Same with Maggie's. Those were some of my favorite shows. The crowds were crazy.
When they would catch it and that spark would fire off, and it was with the whole crowd. Yeah, and it happens occasionally now, I'm sure. I don't know, I'm not there anymore, but I would hope it still does for some people.
To bring up what you said, it's like, well, we lived in Nashville for 13, 14 years, and I was in the management thing. I dealt with, an EDM artist who we've done great things together for her. I just got tired of the management thing because of the gatekeepers. But, I would go to clubs around town once in a while because I hated going to clubs. And there are some amazing artists down there that will never see the light of day because of what the record labels want.
Right.
And it's basically, you have to be self-funded. You have to bring us the album. You have to, and here's the biggest part, because I sat in on a meeting at a record label. No joke. Well, if they don't have over 100,000 followers, we don't want them.
They don't want to do the work.
They don't. They want instant artists. I mean, look at some of these artists that record labels are pulling, you know, and I'm not saying it's bad, but they're signing artists that I read this whole thing in Rolling Stone one time. Some record label, again, I'm not going to call people out, signed a female TikTok star without even having her show up and even do a showcase. They signed her off of her TikToks with the 6-album deal and money up front. And I'm going, wait a minute. I was just down at the Red Door in Nashville and saw this guy in the corner playing that gave me those goosebumps. Are you serious? And they are. They're very serious about how they want their model to be. And I think a lot of these record labels, and I feel bad for a lot of artists, and even the legacy artists too. I know they got the money. Listen, I've seen the budgets. I'm not stupid. But ever since album sales have gone away, because there are none.
It's all about touring.
It's all about touring, because you ain't making nothing from streaming. I've seen the numbers on that.
No.
I had my one artist had over 15 million streams. She got like $600.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Come on, dude.
And then the other problem, the ticket prices are so astronomical now.
It's crazy.
And because touring is so expensive now, it's crazy. I'm flabbergasted by what some of these people are paying and going in debt to go to a 2-hour show.
I know. Well, that's the cool thing about TSO. So their ticket prices aren't high. Plus, TSO every night at a tour donates money to a local charity in that town. Last year, they donated over $1 million.
That's amazing.
And they keep their ticket prices family friendly. And I'm talking family friendly, like $50 and below.
That's awesome.
Have that model is amazing.
That's rare. And you know, the other thing too is it's like it's gone back to the 50s. It's about singles. It's not about albums anymore.
Nope.
It's about the quick one banger.
Yep.
And then off onto the next one.
Yep. Yeah. They'll release, and I've been noticing the trend, and we were told this to do this too. We were noticing a trend of one single every 15 days, 15 to 30 day cycle. So you release a single, and then 15 to 30 days later, you release the next single. And then so on, so on, so on.
Because it's all part of short attention span theater.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to friggin' modern day life.
Right. Exactly.
I have a fear for our future with our younger generation, let me tell you. But so the second part of that question I asked you is, as you were exiting your roadie career and moving on to a better life, what did you notice in our industry as far as how mental health is treated, acknowledged?
It's gotten better. It's not great, but it's gotten better. People can talk about it now. I think this new generation is better with their feelings than we were. We would just bottle them up, put our heads down and gut it out. Yep. That's what we did. Now that they'll talk about their feelings amongst themselves. It's better that way. You know, and like Bobby said, and I agree 100% with this. You know, for me, it's a calling. It's a calling. Then I finally realized, no, it's not. It's a job. We're all replaceable. The minute we leave, someone else is on the gig. It's not that. It's a job.
Dude, as a PM, I got a Rolodex per position.
Exactly.
I'm not stupid, and I got my guys I call, if I need them.
Everybody's expendable.
100%. I always tell these new ones, don't get comfortable. Don't get complacent.
Ever. Well, it's, that line, it's, you've got the job till you die or we find someone better.
Exactly. So we're coming up on time here, but we should probably do this again next year when we restart. But what imparting words of wisdom would you give an aspiring schooled roadie? I know.
Keep your mouth shut. Listen and learn. Don't be a dick.
That's what I said. That's a Jersey thing, man, right there.
Yeah.
Just shut your fucking pie hole and listen.
You don't have to talk if you don't know. Just listen to the people that know and you'll learn stuff.
Yeah, pretty much.
You don't know everything. You don't know everything coming out of school. You don't know shit.
They teach you the technical.
Your diploma is a license to learn.
Your diploma is a license for me to light your shit on fire. I ain't got no damn diploma, but I could school you.
Well, now
know.
they have diplomas. That's why I said that.
I know. It's so sad. So sad.
Well,
All right. I don't even know where to go with this one. We're two old fucks you did my first tour with me, and I am very grateful to have known you this many years. You have been a true friend, and a great teacher back in the day. And I greatly appreciate everything about you, my brother.
oh, and love you too. You know, I wouldn't have done it if I didn't like you. That's my old motto. If I don't like you, I won't talk to you.
Well, that's how I knew Brian liked me. He always threatened me, but never went through with it.
Brian will be a good one.
Yeah. Well, now I can run from him because his knees are worse than mine.
That's true. That's true. Make sure you get lots of cat club stories out of him.
Oh my God. I had a buddy of mine on, Mike Arata, who we,
I know Mike.
Yeah, we started the club days together in Jersey. But he sent me a care package, which I'm pretty stoked about. He sent me a mug from the Ritz, one of the original mugs, which is great for my coffee in the morning. I'm not taking that on the road because it'll get broken. But he sent me an Ed Grimley doll. I'm like,
that's where the Ed Grimley doll came from?
Yep. He had a bunch of them. And I've been looking for one for years. And he's been the Ed Grimley guy. And now I'm going to take Ed Grimley out on tour with me and take my pictures.
And remember, we all drove in Hanty vans.
Oh my God. Yes, we did. Jesus Christ. I missed that. I love John Hanty. God. SST days. Holy crap.
SST.
The Hanty vans. Hanty vans. It's like, what was
it's
it?
for you New York people.
Well, yeah, but it's almost like Hanty vans was like that episode of South Park when they had handy carts.
Yes.
Come on. All right, my brother. I'm gonna let you go. Don't go anywhere just yet, but I'm gonna close out the show, and then we will talk soon. And be safe on your flight tomorrow, and have fun.
Thank you.
All right, brother.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Of course, anytime. Hang tight, brother.
Bad at the bone. I broke 1,000 hearts.